Live from the drama-free true crime destination. No doubts, no delays, just the facts, the fire, and the finality that stands tall. This is the final word. And a good Friday evening, early Saturday morning to all of you. Welcome to this special edition of The Final Word. I'm Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw. We are inside the drama-free true crime destination known as Bethea'S Byte. But tonight, I want to do something a little different. Um, this is the kind of thing that's kind of difficult for me to do because I'm not the kind of person to say goodbye or I wish you well. But in this case tonight, it has come to that, and I'm not real big on goodbyes, especially when it comes to a point of someone or some entity that has been a part of my life or something close to me day after day, you know. And this happens to be one of those moments. So let me go ahead and start this all like this. Goodbyes have never been easy for me, especially now when they've involved people who have shown up for us day after day with excellence, integrity, and heart. I've always despised goodbyes because they never sit right with me. So I won't pretend that this is one. Friends, courtiers, and countrymen, lend me your ears. I've come to praise Court TV, not bury it. For 7 years, Court TV has been more than just a network. It has been a companion, a teacher, a trusted guide through some of the most important trials in America. From the first words of opening statements in the morning with Julie Grant to the final cadence of closing arguments with Vinnie Politan in the evening, this team carried us from sunrise to sign off with clarity, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to justice. Court TV didn't just cover trials, they guided us through them. They gave us the clarity when the cases were confusing, the steadiness when emotions ran high, and humanity when the stories were almost too heavy to hold. So, without any further ado, I'm going to get these tributes started the same way a normal day on Court TV would start. And if you were, and depending on where you were in this great nation of ours, whether it's 8 o'clock in the morning in New York or 5 o'clock in the morning here in beautiful Salem, Oregon, you always started your day on Court TV with Julie Grant and her opening statements. Julie's presence at 8 a.m. Eastern, it wasn't just a show, it was a ritual. Viewers like myself didn't ease into the day, we were welcomed into it. Her opening statements were never just headlines, they were a moral compass, a legal roadmap, a moment of grounding before the chaos of live trials, a reminder that justice is about the people, not just the cases. Julie's background as a former prosecutor and trial expert shaped the clarity she brought to every story. She wasn't guessing, she wasn't speculating, she was teaching with authority, with warmth, and with a deep respect for victims. And she always wanted us to start the day with her, getting ourselves ready with some coffee and some court. I've always enjoyed that. But that's why coffee and court became more than a catchphrase. It became a feeling, the feeling that you were in steady hands from the moment the day began. Waking up with Julie was the perfect opening note. Why so? Think about it. Her colleagues called her the professor, not because she lectured, but because she illuminated. She made complex legal issues accessible without ever dumbing them down. She carried the dual identity of journalist and attorney with grace, and she did it while showing genuine compassion for victims and their families. Like a lot of us in the true crime community, Julie's opening statements had a signature rhythm. Her rhythm was starting off with humanity, move into the facts of the case, frame the legal stakes, and remind viewers why justice matters. It was that rhythm that shaped the entire day, and it set the tone for everyone else to come, like Ted Rowlands, Kelly Craft, Michael Ayala, Judge Ashley Wilcott, Julia Janae, Matt Johnson, Cody Thomas, David Scott, and ultimately, Vinnie Politan to carry forward. Julie Grant didn't just open her show opening statements. She opened the entire courtroom for the nation. If this court TV tribute is about giving flowers, then to start things off, Julie's bouquet is overflowing. She gave us 7 years of early mornings, clear analysis, and heartfelt advocacy. So, Julie, thank you for your devotion. She never sensationalized any case or any headline, and she always centered on the victims. So, Julie, thank you for your integrity. She shaped the network's voice from the very first hour of the day. So, thank you for your leadership and for teaching literally millions how to understand the justice system with clarity and compassion. So, thank you, Julie, for your impact. Julie Grant truly embodied what the best of what court TV stood for. She gave us a little bit of a glimpse into into what court TV was in the early '90s, being recognized as the original true crime obsession, while bringing that same clarity into today and giving us a front row seat to justice. So Julie started the day off and maybe even added an extra hour or two before she passed the baton on to the next set in this crew. Now remember, this team didn't just report on the trials; they ran this system in real time. This crew was the ones who took Julie's morning tone and carried it over into the heart of the day, where the stakes were the highest and the legal machinery was grinding at full speed. I now give you the midday crew at Court TV. We start with Ted Rowlands. Ted brought 20 plus years of experience covering some of the most infamous trials in American history, which includes O.J. Simpson, the trial of the century, Michael Jackson, Jodi Arias, Scott Peterson, and Robert Blake. His reporting background gave Court TV Live its investigative depth and its national credibility. He wasn't just reading scripts, he had lived these cases from the field, and that experience shaped every question he asked and every angle he explored. And as you saw from the picture, not only was he an anchor for Court TV Live, he also had his own show on the network, Victim to Verdict. Next is prosecutor turned journalist Kelly Craft. Kelly Craft was Court TV's legal correspondent. Her background as an assistant state's attorney and an appellate prosecutor meant she understood the law from the inside out. She handled appeals involving violent crimes, domestic violence, child abuse, and so much more. And she brought that expertise directly to her viewers. Her journalism career, covering the likes of U.S. presidents, natural disasters, and major breaking news, gave her the rare ability to translate complex legal issues into clear, accessible language without losing its nuance. Next is one half of my favorite dynamic duo on Court TV, Michael Ayala, the veteran legal analyst. Michael's decades of, of experience as an attorney and Emmy winning journalist made him the steady analytical voice of the midday block. His ability to break down legal strategy, jury dynamics, and courtroom behavior gave viewers the why behind every development. He was the anchor who could take a chaotic moment and turn it into clarity. But if I'm going to go ahead and profile one member of that dynamic duo, I might as well go ahead and get the other one. All rise for the Honorable Ashley Wilcott. Judge Ashley brought something no one else could: the view from the bench. Her judicial experience gave Court TV Live in its grounding in real-world courtroom procedure and judicial reasoning. When she explained why a judge ruled a certain way or how a motion would likely be interpreted, viewers weren't getting speculation. They were getting insight from someone who had been in that chair. Together, Ted, Kelly, Michael, and Judge Ashley formed the operational core of Court TV's mission. They carried the live trials. They interpreted rulings in real time. They explained legal strategy as it unfolded. They kept viewers oriented through long, complex proceedings. They maintained the network's commitment to clarity, accuracy, and humanity. This was the block of the day where the justice system was at full speed. Motions, objections, rulings, witnesses, cross examinations, And this team kept the entire operation steady. They weren't just anchors, they were operators of the legal machine. The flowers are well earned for their expertise because each brought a different corner of the justice system to life. Their steadiness, they held the center during the most intense hours of the day. Their clarity, they made the law understandable without oversimplifying it. And yes, their devotion. 7 years of live, unpredictable, high stakes coverage. I mean, I think about this before I move onward. 1 minute, everything seems to be calm in the courtroom before a motions hearing. The next thing you know, defendant Taylor Shabusiness is attacking her attorney. Who saw that one coming? They sure didn't. Or how about covering the Darrell Brooks case in Wisconsin? How many different times did Brooks interrupt the judge so court TV would have to interrupt that interruption in order to get some thoughts out during that testimony? That's how steady that group was. Always prepared for anything. They embody the promise court TV to give its viewers: your front row seat to justice. Next is court TV live anchor and host of Court of Opinion, the spark, the sharp edge, the afternoon ignition point. Julia Janae stepped into the late afternoon at the exact moment when viewers needed a reset. After hours of live testimony, legal wrangling, and courtroom unpredictability, Court of Opinion wasn't just a show, it was a pressure valve. And Julia was the perfect host for it. Julia brought a combination that's rare in legal journalism. She had the investigative depth, meaning she wasn't just reading case files, she was digging into them. She had the legal fluency. She understood the law well enough to challenge assumptions without overstepping. She had the audience connection. She knew how to turn viewers into participants and not just spectators. And she had the narrative clarity. She could take a messy, emotionally charged case and make it understandable without losing its complexity. And but I say that some people have X factors. Julia was one of them. She had that X factor that some people would like to call that court TV magic. She had the ability to be both analytical and human at the same time. Julia was the perfect bridge in the daily lineup because if you think about it this way, if Julie Grant set the tone and the midday anchors kept the machine running, it was Julia who re-energized the audience and reframed the entire conversation. Just the pattern would go, the court of law is closed for the day. Now it's time for the court of opinion to take over. And there was three things she did so well with that. Court of opinion invited debate. Not chaotic, nothing chaotic, but thoughtful, informed debate. Maybe that's why I like having debates on. I invite debates on my channel as well. The lively debates are encouraged. You got some, you got something you disagree with on what's being said. Bring it. It connected the dots. It puts together what viewers had seen earlier in the day, just in case you may have missed something. And it prepared the audience. It sets the stage for the emotional and legal weight of the evening block. Translation, she was setting you up for Vinny. Julia was the connective tissue between the courtroom and the commentary, between the facts and the feelings, and between the law and the people watching it unfold. Julia embodied the modern day court TV identity. She was smart, sharp, curious, and deeply respectful of the justice system. She represented the next generation of legal journalism, the kind that doesn't just tell you what happened, but helps you understand why it matters. That's why her flowers were well earned. For her investigative excellence, her clarity and courage, her ability to elevate the audience's voice, and for her role in shaping court TV's modern personality. Julia didn't just host a show, she created a space, one where viewers felt seen, heard, and engaged. We thank you for that, Julia. Next, we talk about a guy that's been the face of court TV since the original. Ever since it came back in 2019, I always referred to him as my main man 50 grand. This man is court TV in my opinion. Let's talk about the one and only Vinny Politan. Vinny wasn't simply the closer of the day. Vinny was the closer of the network. He was the one who took everything that happened from sunrise to sundown and wrapped it in clarity, humanity, and unmistakable energy. For all you baseball fans, let's look at the entire lineup. Julie Grant was your leadoff hitter. In the number 2 position, you can fill that in with Ted, Kelly, Michael, or Judge Ashley, and you'd still have a winning combination. In the number 3 spot would be Julia, and your cleanup hitter is Vinny. Here's that why. He brought it. When I say he brought it, I mean he brought a prosecutor's fire, a journalist's discipline, the heart of a storyteller, the compassion of an advocate, and the timing of a showman. And he did it with a voice and presence that made you sit up a little straighter when closing arguments came on. Vinny is Vinny's pretty much the lightning rod of court TV. So why does he matter so much? His entire career tells you everything you need to know about why he became the face of court TV. Think about it. He's a former New Jersey prosecutor, an attorney with real courtroom experience, Not to take anything away from all the others. He's had real courtroom experience. He's also an Emmy-winning legal journalist. He is a veteran of HLN, True TV, SiriusXM, and NBC. He is the creator and host of Closing Arguments, which was Court TV's highest-rated primetime program. And he's the lead anchor of the network, covering the nation's biggest trials for over 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinny was not just reading the news. He was interpreting justice. He wasn't performing. He was connecting. He wasn't just closing the day. He was closing the case. Let me give you what the Vinnie Politan experience looks like. Every night, whether it be Closing Arguments or even VPI, Vinnie Politan Investigates, every night, viewers got something no other network had. He had the passion without sensationalism. He got emotion without theatrics. He had legal clarity without condescension. And he brought humanity without losing the facts. He could take a complicated case and make it feel like a conversation at your kitchen table. He could take a heartbreaking story and give it dignity. He could take a confusing legal moment and make it understandable. And when he said, "Let's talk about it," you knew you were about to learn something. Especially in that short segment on Closing Arguments he called Something You Need to Know. His three signature contributions as far as where he would host are concerned, I mentioned Closing Arguments. He was the nightly anchor of the network with that show. Vinnie Politan Investigates is a deep dive into cases that needed more than just the headlines. And Accomplice to Murder. It's storytelling of a case of a past case with moral weight and investigative rigor. He didn't just host shows. Vinny built Court TV's primetime identity. So why was Vinny the perfect closer? Julie opened the day with grace. Ted and the midday crew carried the legal machine. Julia sparked the afternoon conversation. Vinny was the exclamation point. He was the emotional and intellectual crescendo of the entire lineup. Vinny was the guy that said, "Here's what matters. Here's what we learned today. And here's where justice stands." And he did it with a presence that made viewers feel like they were a part of something bigger than a broadcast. We were part of a community that cared about truth. And that's why a lot of us in that community are affectionately call ourselves Courties, because of the likes of a Julie Grant, a Vinnie Politan, Ted Rowlands, Kelly Craft, Michael Ayala, Judge Ashley. They did that to us, and for that we thank them dearly for it. As far as Vinny, like the rest of the crew, Vinny's flowers are overflowing. Vinny was the anchor who defined the Court TV brand. So Vinny, thank you for your leadership. Vinny had the fire that made viewers care. So thank you for your passion. He was the heart that made the stories matter. So thank you for your humanity. He was the voice that made justice understandable. So thank you for your clarity. And not just these 7, but your decades of service to truth, the law, and the people watching. We thank you for your devotion. Vinny wasn't just the face of court TV. He was the heartbeat. Oh, wait a minute. I can't forget this guy. Hold on. Nope, I can't forget him. The crime and justice correspondent, Matt Johnson. He was the steady hand, the storyteller, the reporter who brought clarity, compassion, and professionalism to every case he touched, whether in the field or in the studio. Matt was a part of the glue that held this entire operation together. He brought something to court TV that is harder to define, but impossible to miss: reliability, presence, and narrative clarity. Matt was the reporter who could step into any case, any community, any courtroom, and make the story understandable without losing its humanity. Matt had that rare ability to translate chaos into clarity, connect viewers to the people behind the headlines, bring us calm, steady reporting to emotionally charged cases, and bridge the gap between the courtroom and the community. No, Matt Johnson wasn't flashy. He wasn't trying to be the star. He was the professional's professional, the kind of journalist who makes everyone else's job easier because he always delivered. Matt was essential because he covered some of the most complex and emotionally heavy cases in the country, and he did it with empathy, accuracy, steadiness, and respect. Matt was the reporter you trusted to get it right. He was the reporter anchors trusted to toss to. He was the reporter viewers trusted to explain what was happening on the ground. Court TV wasn't just built on big personalities. It was built on dependable, principled journalists like Matt Johnson. Matt belongs right alongside this crew because he was part of that infrastructure of the network, the part viewers didn't always see, but they always felt it. He was the one who made the coverage seamless. He was the one who made the stories human. He was the one who made the network stronger. And yes, his flowers are well earned too, for being consistent, for his professionalism, for his storytelling, for his heart, and for being the glue that held the entire coverage together. Now, with every great project or model, there's always that glue that hold. There's always that glue that holds it together. I've already introduced you to Matt Johnson. I have 2 more gentlemen I want to introduce you to. I introduce you to Cody Thomas and David Scott. Let's start with Cody first. Cody wasn't just a reporter. He was the boots on the ground storyteller who made court TV feel national, immediate, and alive. His official profile describes him as the field reporter who covered some of the biggest true crime stories and trials, making headlines, taking viewers directly to the heart of the action, and walking them through crime scenes to unravel what happened. His work included the Idaho student murders, the Idaho Four, the Lake and Riley case, the Madeline Soto investigation, the Ashley Benefield Black Swan murder trial, and the Ahmaud Arbery case, where he secured interviews with the family. Cody's reporting wasn't just informational, it was immersive. He gave viewers context, geography, emotion, and immediacy. He made the cases real. And his background, an editor, a writer, a producer, HLN reporter, and Savannah correspondent, all that gave him the versatility to handle breaking news, long form storytelling, and digital coverage with equal skill. Cody Thomas was the network's eyes and ears on the ground, and he deserves every flower you can give him. From Court TV's boots on the ground reporter to the investigative reporter and host of Interview with a Killer, David Scott. David Scott brought something to Court TV that no other network had: decades of investigative excellence and a resume stacked with the industry's highest honors. His official profile highlights a Peabody Award, 2 Columbia DuPont batons, 14 Emmy Awards, and 30 years of investigative reporting experience. David took all that into one of Court TV's most chilling and compelling series, Interview with a Killer. David didn't just interview convicted killers, he confronted them. His style was direct, unflinching, and deeply informed by years of investigative work. He asked the questions most reporters would never dare to ask. And he did it with a calm, steady presence that made the interviews unforgettable. He gave Court TV something rare: a window into the minds of the people at the center of the cases America could not stop talking about. His contribution wasn't daily like the anchors, but it was foundational. He expanded the network's storytelling range and gave viewers access to a dimension of true crime that few journalists can navigate safely or ethically. Cody and David represent the outer edges of Court TV's coverage, the places where the courtroom meets the real world, where the legal system meets the human story. Cody brought the where, David brought the why. Together, they completed the network's mission: to give viewers a front row seat to justice, not just in the courtroom, but everywhere justice is fought for. Let me see if I can pull myself back up into this shot here. Really quick. There we go. And if I can get myself a little bit centered, I'll be all right. Maybe that'll do it. Okay. Now, I've already told you right at the start that I was never good with goodbyes. In fact, I hated them. Still do. But what I'm going to do, I'm not gonna say goodbye. Sure, I titled this thing "The End of an Era as I Know It," and it is. But I'm going to say thank you. I thank Cody Thomas for his work in the field for court TV. I thank Dave Scott for his investigative reporting. I thank the Honorable Ashley Wilcott for her legal expertise and her from the bench perspective. I thank Julia Janae for her spark and her passion. I thank Julie Grant for opening her mornings and giving of her time every morning, and her compassion for the victims. I thank Kelly Craft for her legal expertise and taking us inside every trial that is going on. I thank Matt Johnson for his interpretation of all the legal cases that has come down the pike. Michael Ayala, the true clarity and soul of Court TV Live. I thank him for that. Ted Rollins, the first person after Julie Grant that I see taking over and taking us through the day. And my main man, 50 grand. Vinny, for being the face of Court TV, for your compassion, your investigative deep dives. I cannot say thank you enough. I wish you all the best. To that entire Court TV team, the anchors, the reporters, the investigators, the producers, the editors, the photographers, all the people behind the scenes who made this network run from sunrise to sign off. I thank you all for your devotion. I thank you all for your professionalism. I thank you all for your compassion. I thank you for giving us your very best for 7 unforgettable years. You didn't just cover trials, you taught us how to understand them. You didn't just report the facts, you helped us see the people behind them. You didn't just fill a schedule, you built a community. You built a community of courties. This community is one that cares about truth, justice, and each other. And for that, on behalf of all of us courties, I say again, thank you. Now, before before I leave you, I'm going to do something that Vinny would have done. So please bear with me here. All right, let's see. So before I leave you tonight, I want to bring to your attention 2 missing children out of Idaho. A brother and sister who have been the subject of an ongoing Amber Alert since June 22nd of 2025. I want you to take a look at your screen right now. You're looking at 15-year-old Rochelle Fisher. Rochelle is said to be about 5 feet 5 inches tall, weigh around 135 pounds, with blue eyes and brown hair. She was last seen wearing a green dress. Her brother, Alan Fisher, is 13 years of age. He's 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighs around 135 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He was last seen wearing a blue shirt and blue jeans. At the last report, both children were last seen at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on June 22nd, 2025 in Montview, Idaho. Authorities believe they may be headed toward an FLDS group in Mendon, Utah, and maybe with adult siblings. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office immediately. That number is 208-745-9210. 208-745-9210. Or you can call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That number is 1-800-THE-LOST. 1-800-843-5678. That's all I got for you right now. Next week, I'll be right back in the thick of things, covering all cases in true crime. And hopefully, I can do my best in covering these cases as well as Court TV has, as I once knew it. But until then, I thank you all for joining me. I thank you to Court TV, and I salute all of you for your 7 years of service and beyond. My name is Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw, and this is Bethea'S Byte. Oh wait, I forgot to say one thing Vinny would have said. my slip up, my bad. Please, always remember to hug the kids. That's for you, Vinny. Now I can sign off. Thank you again for joining me. I'm Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw, and this is Bethea'S Byte. And it's reloaded. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here at the drama-free true crime destination. Please be sure to follow Bethea'S Byte Reloaded all over social media and support the channel through PayPal and Cash App. You can get your true crime news right here with no gimmicks, no drama, and no BS. This is Bethea'S Byte, And it's reloaded.